Good afternoon. My name is Shazia Khan, and today we'll be doing Learning Outcome 2 from Effective Business Communication module. And we're going to be looking at Learning Outcome 2, which is can you communicate complex business information effectively in both oral and written form? I'm just going to give you a summary of what we did in Learning Outcome 1, yesterday. So we looked at, in Learning Outcome 1, we looked at developing knowledge and skills and understanding communication theory and importance of effective communication in business. We looked at the communication process. We looked at types of communication. So yesterday we looked at formal and informal, internal and external. We also looked at verbal and non-verbal channels of communication. We looked at the use of technology in communication, emails, telephone, mobile phones, social media. And then we looked at things like barriers to communication. So if you have a problem, again, cultural barriers, language barriers may be one thing. You know, if you have language issues, you may not be able to communicate things in a right way. We also then went on to look at the different channels of communication. So we looked at internal and external in organizations. So internal communication can be things such as face-to-face communication. So, you know, the fact that we communicate with people face-to-face, which allows them to give us more feedback. And also we looked at written communication. And that's if you have to write a letter or anything like that. So the reason we identified these is because communication is so important within an organization. We're able to identify that, different types of communication help different organizations. Things like, formal communication, memos, reports, records of things, they communication. Okay, why Ghulam, when we talk about face-to-face communication, why do you think it's so important?
Is face-to-face communication is it's too many different. Some places face-to-face for the man is okay, but face-to-face for the woman is a little bit complication.
Yes, sometimes difficult because of culture, because sometimes culturally it's difficult to talk to women because of what their beliefs are and what their culture is.
Yes.
We then went on. Sorry, what's that, Ghulam?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Actually, some places language problem.
Language is a big problem.
Yeah, language is a big problem.
Yeah, it doesn't help people. Yeah, true.
No problem.
Then we looked at
slowly everything.
We looked at informal communication, which was looking at exchanging not things like informal emails, social gatherings, and we also looked at upward and downward communication, and that looks at from the employee to the employer, and from the employee, the manager, maybe to the employee as well, and why that's important to be communicated properly. We then went on to external communication channels, which were things like business letters, the importance of having business letters, for sending out, and a more professional record of communication. Email obviously is digital communication, and it's for external communication. It enables communication between clients, stakeholders, other organizations, and an easy way to communicate is emails. We then looked at social media, and why that's so important. A lot of people today use social media. Why do you think people use social media, Ghulam?
It's easy to communicate from people. Any information with social media.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. People are able to communicate. And advertise maybe things on social media. So it's a platform for things like, public sharing, public updates, building your brand image, selling things, business reports. And these are formal documents conveying information to stakeholders, annual reports, financial reports, and maybe to shareholders and the public. And maybe these reports are comprehensive, and obviously they look at the finances of the company. So it's important to have these reports in place because they identify how the company is running. So, if they are in financial trouble or if they are okay, financially, then it identifies how the company is running.
But social media, ma'am, is something in problem face. Is problem face. If you give original your identification in social media,
Yeah,
some people use your identification and do wrong place and
yeah, yes, you're right.
give it trouble.
Yeah, which
But
causes a lot of problems.
yeah, is if somebody, for example, any person give you problem, check your ID or your name, your date of
Yeah,
birth, your address, use, and for your commit problem
yeah,
for
it does.
face
It
this
cause,
one is beautiful.
especially if it's personal information,
Yes, yes,
it causes a lot of problems.
yes,
So we also looked at press releases, customer service hotlines, and then we looked at why it's so important to have external communication within an organization. We looked at barriers to communication. This was really important. We looked at things like physical barriers, so
yes,
maybe geographical distance. Language barriers is a big thing, which you did say, Gulam. The fact
yes,
that some people can't understand other people's language, the
yes,
jargon they use, the proficiency of language they use, the terminology.
yes,
Also, another thing could be cultural barriers. Like sometimes people don't like shaking hands. Women don't like shaking hands. That's a cultural
yeah,
barrier.
yeah.
Um,
This
in certain cultures it's different, isn't it? You don't all have the same culture.
yes,
So, certain cultures, and you must be able to identify and be more diverse in culture. Media choice, we looked at emotional barriers, anxiety, the fear. We also looked at disabled barriers, and that's things like, if someone has a hearing impediment or speech problem, we must accommodate with sign language tools and be more inclusive and provide more
yes,
effective resources for that person, because you have to provide tools for that person to help them, communicate. If someone is, deaf, you need to provide things like, hearing aids, but also facilities where they can, you know, they can understand things. Also, if people are blind, you've got things like the Makaton, and you've got things like the dots, which will help them understand certain things. So it's really important that you cater for, people with disabilities as well.
yes.
Okay, so now we're going to go on to learning outcome 2, which is I've just briefly identified what learning outcome 1 was, what we did yesterday. Learning outcome 2 is looking at communicating business information effectively in both oral and written forms. So the indicative content is simply versus complex information. So how we get information across. Complex business information is having several variables. We're looking at presenting complex information. We're looking at the characteristics of an effective slide presentation, dangers of over-reliance on slide presentations, so using too much death by PowerPoint, supporting written materials, so layouts and the use of images and graphs, because some people understand through images and graphs, managing questions and answering session, body language, and
It's
use
too
of...
important. Body language too important.
Sorry, body language is important.
Yes, if you
Why is it so
talking,
important?
it's if you talk to face somebody, you
Yeah,
need to talk relaxedly and
yes,
slowly, carefully choose
yes.
word is
And you understand their
right.
face as well, don't you? How their facial expression is.
Yes, this
What
this is
what they're feeling as well about it.
yes. Need to
Business language, so use professional language audiences and their needs, use of technology, emails, social media, websites, virtual meetings, presentation slides, awareness of different audience, so the needs of board directors, managers, employees, and customers, and informal and formal business reports, and when the use of each is appropriate, and then question and answer sessions, so preparation to manage these. Now we've got a video that I want to put on effective communication, okay? So I'm just going to stop sharing that. I'll put this video on. And this video identifies how effective communication is so important within a workforce and why there's a need for effective communication in any business, okay? It's just 1 minute. Let's see if I can share that. So let me just see if I can share this now. I'll pause this. So we looked at that video and it talked about the importance of effective communication within any organization, you know, why it's so important, why we need effective communication. And it looked at what poor communication does, you know, the importance of it. And what did you get from that video? What did you think?
It's too many things in video. Some place for communicate some people. For example, some one project, if need to communicate to different employee. And
can you see when we talk about communication, why it's so important when we look at, you know, the barriers to communication? So some people speak to you in a different language, the way they talk is different, so sometimes that's a barrier to communication. Also the language they use is different for some people to understand, and sometimes, you know, poor technology and cultural issues. This all came in the video, which helped identify different barriers. Okay, so let's go back to the slides. Can you see these slides? It says 2.1.
2.1.
Can you see this slide? Yes?
Yeah.
It says participate in an activity to demonstrate oral communication in a formal situation using technology and other appropriate aids to present complex business information effectively. So the purpose of this activity is to provide participants with hands-on experience in demonstrating oral communication skills in a formal business setting. Participants will utilize technology and appropriate aids to present the business information effectively. So the steps that are used is, number one, you select a complex business topic. So you choose a complex topic relevant to the participants, the field of study or industry. This could be a case study, any sort of market analysis, or a strategic business proposal. Number two, you prepare the presentation content. You must prepare. Participants should thoroughly research and prepare a formal presentation on the chosen topic area. Emphasize the need for clarity, organization, and depth of information. So if you're talking about a presentation or a particular area in a business, you need to make a presentation for that. It's so important, any organization. You need to utilize technology. Technology is very important in communication because sometimes technology can go wrong. Okay, you must instruct participants to incorporate technology for the presentation. This could involve a PowerPoint or similar presentation using visual charts and multimedia elements. So some of this will be part of your assignment as well, which we'll go through in week 5, okay? You need to practice with presentation tools. So you conduct a session to familiarize participants with the use of presentation tools such as PowerPoint, Google Slides, or any other platform they will be using. Ensure they understand how effectively integrate visuals and multimedia. So the mock presentation rehearsal. Participants should rehearse their presentation, focusing on clear articulation and maintaining a steady pace and using appropriate gestures. encouraging them to practice with the technology and aids they plan to use. So this is what will be discussed more later. Peer review session. So organize a peer review session where participants provide constructive feedback. If you are doing something and you want feedback on it, it's good to get feedback to tell you if you need to do it like this or you need to do it like that, or if you're doing something wrong. Emphasize the importance of feedback on clarity, engagement, and the effective use of aids. The live presentation event. So you host a formal presentation event where participants present their complex business information. This can be done in person or virtually, depending on the context. Ensure that the setting stimulates a formal business environment. This activity provides participants with a comprehensive experience in applying oral communication skills in a formal business context, while incorporating technology and aids to enhance an overall presentation. Adjust the specifics of the activity based on the available resources and the preferences of the participants. Why do you think technology is so important?
For technology is important, is something if you need to more information, you take information and give somebody.
Yeah.
Or some place you need to use.
Yeah. If you need to give more information to a party, or if you need to, use visual aids, or if you need to use PowerPoint, communication and technology is very important in that.
It's very important.
So in 2M1,
right technology.
Yeah. 2M1, you need to manage a question and answer session to demonstrate subject knowledge and communication skills. So this is what you need to do later on for your assignment as well, okay? This activity aims to allow participants to demonstrate their subject knowledge and communication skills by effectively managing a question and answer session. So the steps here are that you select a relevant topic. You again choose a relevant and complex topic related to the subject matter and the industry, as we mentioned earlier as well. You prepare the presentation content. So here, you need to have the selected topic and also emphasize the key points on providing background information and emphasize the importance of anticipating potential questions. You need to deliver the presentation. So this needs to be part of your assignment. So when we go through your assignment, Ghulam, in week 5, you'll discuss more of this, that you have to prepare a presentation, you need to deliver the presentation, and then you need to deliver the presentation to the audience. Okay? So deliver presentation. Here, participants will present the information to the audience. You must encourage them to use clear language, visuals, and examples to enhance understanding. So you could use PowerPoint slides, you could use Google Slides. You have a question and answer session, which is an introduction. So following the presentation, participants should introduce the question and answer session, setting out expectations for audience interaction. You should encourage questions. So here you would actively encourage the audience to ask questions. You should be prepared to respond to a variety of inquiries relating to your topic area and what you have presented. Okay, so this will be all part of your assignment. You need to handle questions with confidence. So participants should demonstrate confidence in responding to questions, encourage them to provide clear and concise answers while referencing the presented content. You should engage with the audience. That means you should get the audience involved. You should encourage them to participate with you in a question and answer session. You should here make eye contact, acknowledge the questioner, and fostering a positive and interactive atmosphere. So you must know that what you are talking about, your subject area, that you know what you are talking about and you are interacting with the audience. You must then address challenging questions. So prepare participants for handling challenging or unexpected questions. You must emphasize the importance of staying calm, acknowledging uncertainty when necessary, and offering to follow up additional information needed. So if someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer to that question, you can tell the person or the audience or whoever's listening to your presentation that you will get back to them with extra information, or you will research it and you will get back to that person. Okay, so that identifies that you are able to understand, but able to collaborate and get on with the people, the audience.
Yeah.
Moderate this session. So this will be part of your assignment as well. Okay, so you need to, if feasible, have a facilitator or moderator to assist in managing the question and answer session. This person can help organize the questions, ensure that fairness is there, and maintain a smooth flow. You must reflect and debrief. So conclude the session with a reflection and debrief. Discuss the effectiveness of participant responses, areas for improvement, and lessons learned in managing a question and answer session. This will be more discussed in your assignment in week 5, okay? So in conclusion, this activity provides participants with a practical opportunity to showcase their subject knowledge and communication skills in a dynamic and interactive setting. Here, you will adjust the specifics of the activity based on the subject matter and the preferences of the participants. So you need to look at this when it comes to doing your assignment. We will be discussing this in more detail, okay? So when we go back to your unit spec, okay, this is part of it. So, learning outcome, we'll be looking at learning outcome 2, which we've just done, is can communicate complex business information effectively in both oral and written form. Here, again, in the assignment session, you must participate, as I've mentioned in the slides, in an activity to demonstrate communication. And you must have a question and answer session, like I mentioned, okay? And this is really important because this is part of your assignment, okay? So you need to have a look at this when we go through it, and this will be more discussed when it comes to doing your assignment in week 5, okay? But this is the structure we intend to use. So in conclusion, again, we're looking at, as I've mentioned, the activity would be specific to your subject area, and how you do your question and answer session would be identifying the subject area. So we finished the session now. Okay. The references here is some references that we've used in regards to completing this learning outcome 2. First one is by K. Brown, 2020, Technology and Business Communications, Trends and Challenges, International Journal of Business Communication. Corporate Communication Institute, 2023, Best Practice in Communication. Business Communication Associate, the role of face-to-face communication in organization. Digital Communication Trends, and that's 2022, and that's looking at communication insights. We also look at International Journal of Cross-Cultural Communication, and that is navigating cultural barriers in global organizations. And when you communicate with people, it's very important that you're able to communicate in an effective manner, because barriers to communication sometimes, like you said, Ghulam, language is a big barrier, culture is another barrier, technology, sometimes technology doesn't work properly. So that could be a big barrier as well. Cultural can be a barrier. Someone's disability, if someone has a disability, that's a barrier, because you must cater for that person. If someone can't hear, you must obviously provide them resources that they can be able to do things and communicate. That's the same for people that visual impairments, that are blind. You must provide resources for them. We've also used Workplace Diversity and Inclusion Report 2021, and also Harvard referencing Harvard Business Review 2019, which looked at effective use of written communication in organizations. Communication Technology Trends 2020, Communication Tech. Workplace Emotion Studies 2018. And we've also looked at the Journal of Organizational Structure and the impact of communication flow and why it's so important within an organization. Again, we've looked at the accessibility and technology guidelines, and World Tech Accessibility, and Business Communication Handbook. Now, these are some of the books and the resources we've used to complete these learning outcomes. But these books and resources will help you when you are doing your assignment as well.
Oh.
So the plenary, now we've finished this session, which is learning outcome 2. Have you got any questions, Ghulam?
No, it's okay.
No?
No.
If you've got any questions, you can just, ask learnerwork@ukvarsity.co and use Moodle as well for any sort of additional resources, ebooks, anything like that. Okay, so you've got access to Moodle, and you've got access to email that you could, if you have any issues. The next session we've got is learning outcome 3, okay, and that is next week on Friday. So you don't have a session tomorrow, okay? You've got the next session, which is learning outcome 3, which is next week.
Yeah, it's next week, Friday.
Friday.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It's Friday next week, okay, at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Is that okay?
It's okay, no problem.
Okay, so you only have your session Friday and Saturday, and then the next one is learning outcome 3, which we'll be discussing next week. So we've looked at now the presentation, how to, identify what you need to do for your presentation. So your audience, what you need to do in regards to how to structure it. Also how to look at the elements of, question and answer session, how to look at utilizing different technology. So what you could use, things like PowerPoint slides, presentation tools, peer reviews, also, what kind of content you're going to put in it, encourage question and answer session. These are things that you will be using towards helping you for your presentation. And we'll discuss more of that when it comes to the final assignment discussion, which is in week 5, okay? So we finished the session now. If you don't have any questions, I will see you next week on Friday. Is that okay, at 2 o'clock?
Thank you.
You do have any questions, Ghulam?
No, it's okay.
Okay, excellent. I will see you next week at 2 o'clock on Friday, okay? Have a nice week, Ghulam.
Bye.
Is that okay, Ghulam?